There we go. Okie dokie. So we will start the meeting and we will begin. The time is 6:05 by my clock. So welcome everyone. I'd like to start by paying my respects to the Bunurong Boonwurrung First Nations people of the land on which we're hosting this meeting and their custodian role caring for country for more than 40,000 years. It's a land where sovereignty was never ceded. This beautiful place, many of us call home, where we live and operate our tourism businesses. I want to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and I'm looking forward to learning more about how we might create a culturally safe space here in the Hinterland Tourism Association so that more First Nations people can engage with us and enrich our work here in the future. So we will move on to the second agenda item, that is attendance. Cash, you've been able to record all of those present here on the Zoom tonight? Yep. I'll unmute you all actually because I need you all to be able to ratify our motions and so forth. So what we might do actually, rather than do that, is we just put in place a hands up if you agree with the motion. Okay, that will help us. Okay. All right. So attendance is noted. Do we have any apologies or proxies, Katrina?
We do. We've got apologies from Holly at Bass and Flinders, John and Julie Truman, Alyssa Hemphill from Orchard Cottage, and she's also asked if we could let you all know that she's open by appointment and has lots of roses.
Fantastic. Lovely. Okay, so moving on to item number 3, which is to move and approve confirmation of the previous AGM minutes that were held on the 21st of September 2020 and supplied to you in video format this year via our e-newsletter. So I'd like to move those minutes. Can I have a second for that?
Well,
Katrina's going to be our second, and all those in favour raise your hands. Okay, great, thank you, carried. The next agenda item is the President's report, and to save my voice, I'm going to share with you a video that I've pre-recorded today. So just bear with me while I set that up. Okay. I'll try to stand that baby. Okay, thanks guys.
Hi everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. I understand how difficult it is to attend these online AGMs and meetings during this time. Just listening last night to the ABC and hearing Chief Health Officer Brett Sutton talk to Raf Epstein, Raf asked him what would he have liked to have known back in March 2020. And Dr. Sutton responded by saying he wished he had have known that this was going to go on for 2 years, because then we could have readied ourselves. He went on to say that in 2021, they had to pick themselves up again and sprint, and that was a very hard thing to do. I thought it was an accurate description of what the tourism industry is now facing as we look towards reopening. Many of us have had to let go of staff. We don't have the capacity and the capability we perhaps once had, and we're facing a pent-up demand. Based on the previous experience in 2020, we could be looking at an elongated peak period as people reorganise their lives and plan last-minute off-peak holidays. We too will have to pick ourselves up and do it all again and sprint. It's potentially a very special time in terms of hosting visitors to this region as well. There's an opportunity to participate in the healing and recovery of families, young people and individuals right across Victoria as they visit our region. In the past few months, they haven't been able to show their support for travel and tourism, and their enthusiasm for the experiences that we offer, the environment we care for, the creativity we foster, and the way we deliver our services. So we're going to have to be a little bit patient, because when we are dealing with traumatised people, including our staff and our own families, they might not communicate as respectfully as we would like them to. And we are probably going to deal with some latent anger and frustration. But there's also an opportunity to participate in their joy and an incredible catharsis as they begin to enjoy new freedoms. It's really a unique time, and one that we can share with our guests as they go along their journey. One that we have gone through with them this far, and we will continue to do that. So, reflecting on the year that has just passed for the Hinterland Tourism Association and its committee, we too have adapted to what was put before us. We began by advocating for tourism businesses to the government, both local and state, with the Tourism Services Review, and we applied for a Business Victoria grant. We were successful in this, and we delivered a series of professional LinkedIn workshops to members online. Many of you participated in those, and we received some excellent feedback and set up a LinkedIn association page for members, as well as developing some how-to resources that we shared through the industry, with the industry through our website and e-news. The committee felt it was really important to invest in networking events to bring the industry together and to celebrate. We feel that social events are important for the health and well-being of our industry, to build a sense of community through shared face-to-face experiences. The first of those events was held after the 2020 reopening at the Christmas picnic at a Luca retreat in Shoreham. This family-friendly event was supported by a terrific set of live music from local musicians, and it was an absolutely beautiful afternoon down by the lake. And thanks to Gary and Amanda for making that happen so soon after opening. The second event was held on May 2021 at the newly revamped Pig and Whistle. We were so grateful to James and Heidi Luckhurst, James McPherson and Heidi Luckhurst, who were able to show us their vision of a vibrant live entertainment venue that will be a hub for the arts in the hinterland area. I'm really excited about the development of this venue for our local tourism region and the hinterland. I attended a conference yesterday hosted by MP Music that canvassed the Shire's new 2025 music plan. They have set aside $500,000 over 5 years to reinvigorate the arts and live music scene on the Mornington Peninsula. And James and the team at the Pig and Whistle, as well as Robin from Music on the Hill, are set to play a really important part in that growth. So it's looking quite exciting in terms of arts and live music in the hinterland region. And through our networking events, we will continue to support that and live music and live performance. On the visitor services front, we're a little hamstrung this year for 2 reasons. We had elected to reduce member fees to 0, and so we had no income to implement projects. And as our industry was shut down, there was no real need to provide visitor interpretation other than that which was online. So for that reason, we decided to put our map project and our signboard renewal project into hibernation. But we did amplify every member business through our social channels, and we created original content on Facebook and Instagram using our key local contractor, Merrin Munro. The Hinterland Instagram following has increased by 160% in 12 months, and our Facebook page has seen a 52% growth. So we had some really great results under the circumstances. And through the support of the MP Shire grant, we made some improvements in terms of our member services online in 2021. We took the opportunity during the downtime to revisit our website, updating all listings, and we've gone online with our membership sign up and handy new development. We published information pages about how we fit into the local tourism ecosystem. And the last part of what we did this year was all about communication and dissemination of information with our monthly e-newsletter. I know you're probably bombarded with tons of information coming from government agencies, but we tried to cherry pick the most important announcement with COVID-safe information, peppered with industry events and local news from our network and social feeds. And of course, having a qualified accountant with Sean Rubenstein on the team was incredibly valuable, as we were able to bring our attention to those important funding opportunities that were disseminated, simplified and passed on to members ahead of deadlines. So we were in a little bit of a holding pattern in 2021, but we saw some really great wins in terms of continuing to keep the wheels turning. Our membership grew by 15% and our committee is in a really good shape moving forward. Sadly though, we will be saying farewell to an incredible team member who has been with the association for 7 years. I'm talking about Kerry Watson here. And Kerry has been absolutely integral to the running of the association and a driving force. She has been an incredibly wise head and a supportive vice president to me. When I took on this role, I was a little new to the nuances of the model rules, running an association and all the legal implications. So Kerry has been fantastic in providing that backstop for me, along with Sean Rubenstein. Kerry has been a constant in her professional implementation of projects and events for the Hinterland Tourism Association. She took on the mantle of the Scarecrow Festival and she did it without fees being paid. And whilst I hope it was left in reasonable shape by the previous project manager, no one more than me understands how much work was involved in that. It's Kerry that brought the signboards and the touring map projects together in a professional way. She has driven those projects, managed the artwork, managed the contractors, managed the budget. She's been the one that stored thousands of brochures in her garage. She's been the one in the car hand delivering boxes of maps to operators, and the list goes on. Kerry really has gone above and beyond. She will be sadly missed, but she has left us in great shape, both financially and by taking the time to document these processes with turnkey plans on all projects she's managed. So we're very excited to see what the next chapter brings for Kerry, and we thank you so very, very much, Kerry, for all, and wish you all the best for your future endeavours. And we hope that you are not going to be a stranger at our future tourism events. On the subject of our committee, I really want to thank all of the committee members who have just been so professional and really worked as a team this year. We came together in 2020, 2019, when almost half the team were brand new and had never been involved in committees before. And during 2020, they made themselves available to learn and take on those volunteer responsibilities, whilst juggling young families and their own work commitments. And they never dropped the ball. We met on 12 occasions to manage ongoing member activities, and all of this with the heavy emotional and exhaustive toll of dealing with the pandemic and the situation they were in. So I can't thank them enough. It is only with this strong committee in place that I have agreed to re-nominate as president again in 2021, should I be elected. So yes, the cat's out of the bag there. And that concludes the President's report for 2021. Thank you very much.
Okay, so hopefully we're all back as normal. Thanks everyone, and yes, I would like to move the President's report, and if I could have someone to second that. Kerry will second that. Thank you, Kerry. And all those in favour, raise your hands. Yes, beautiful. Thank you. And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, so moving right along, we're getting through this nice and quickly, which is always very nice. We've got the Treasurer's report next, and that is going to be presented by Sean. So, Sean, take the floor.
Hi everyone, I'm Sean, for those who I haven't met or who haven't met me. Been Treasurer for quite a few years now of this organisation.
Yes,
and this will be probably the easiest Treasurer's report I've had to give, given throughout the 2021 financial year we didn't charge members for anything, so less revenue to account for. And we also, whilst we weren't exactly on hiatus, a number of costs that Nellie alluded to in her President's report, such as the signboard updates, the website updates, the tourist maps, and other initiatives and projects that we tend to run, were all kind of put on hold for the year. So relatively straightforward Treasurer's report. So Nellie, if you want to bring it up onto the screen.
Yep, so I'll just share that now.
Okay. Okay, so I've left the FY20 exactly as per what I presented last year, which is why we've grown from 20 or from 76 to 96 members from the year. That's 18 new members. We also had 2 members that were a little bit slower in paying, also end up rejoining, so to speak. So 18 fresh new members, and our final tally for FY20 that rounded up after the AGM was 78 members. So but certainly not charging membership and getting some publicity around that has added to our member base and our our database and our newsletter send email lists and so on, and hopefully that will translate to paid up members as well come the years ahead, and a much more vibrant group. We're only as strong as our membership base, so the more members, the stronger we are. Our income for FY 2021 as a result of making membership free fell from 18.4 down to $13,000. That $13,000 essentially was the proceeds of 2 grants that we applied for and were successful in. One was $10,000 from the Department of Justice, a Victorian state government grant, of which we've committed thus far and spent a touch under $8,000 of it. So there is a bit of reserve funding left to account for in the next financial year as well. There was also $3,000 that was put forward by the MP Shire. A lot of that activity is currently being undertaken and will be spent in the 2022 financial year as well. As a result of those 2 grants and our not undertaking some of our activities and being really cautious with our budget for the year, we've managed to essentially preserve our entire cash balance that we had on hand this time last year. So we ended the FY21 year with $15,500 in the bank. We do have about $5,000 of that committed to spending the 2 grants that we received in FY21. As a result, we pretty much broke even for the year, a $400 loss for the year. So a pretty impressive result given foregoing membership revenue in FY21. Do you want to bring up the next page that goes through a bit more of the detail, Nellie?
Yep. So
just the first page, yep. Just to show that we're meeting our consumer affairs obligations. Just scroll up one more. So as part of this process, and it will become a bit more sort of real when we talk to some of the motions we need to do, we need to confirm our numbers with Consumer Affairs Victoria, who's our registering body, as at the 30th of June 2021. We don't do an audit, we don't do a review because we're not compelled to do so, which we decided at last year's AGM. But Kerry and Nellie do review the numbers. We sat down together and went through them all in reasonable detail. And they're happy to sign off the financial statements that you'll see in the next couple of slides. So I appreciate your help on that, Nellie and Kerry. The details all there. We'll send this through as an attachment after the fact, but you can see there the $13,000 of other revenue, which were the 2 grants that we had, and our total OPEX of $13,300. So of that, the $7,800 was essentially grant funded spending. The rest was by and large our sort of annual operating expenses plus the costs of the 2 member events that we staged this year. So it does cost us a reasonable amount to operate that we couldn't back out of. We have to keep paying our insurance each year. We committed to a social media update, which was put forward and delivered by Merrin throughout the year. We pay our annual domain fees and registration fees for our websites and so on. And, a bit of accounting software to kind of track everything as well throughout the year. So largely, essentially broke even for the year. And if you flick to the next slide, which just sort of captures our balance sheet position, which is looking pretty healthy. the $15.4 thousand in the bank. We prepared a BAS for the June period, which results in a refund. So that came through after the end of the financial year for $320, and some healthy retained earnings there of $15,740. So there's a cash flow statement, I think, that's next. I'm happy to take any queries on the detail, but I tend not to get bogged down in all of that, and also happy to take any queries offline, after the session as well. So with that, a relatively straightforward Treasurer's report for FY21.
Thank you, Sean. Fantastic. Does anyone have any questions from the floor? Happy to take those. I can, it looks like everyone's got themselves muted, so I will take that on that there's no questions. So Sean, are you happy to move the Treasurer's report?
Yes.
Yes, he's going to move it. If we could have someone to second it. Kerry's going to second that, and all in favour, raise your hands. Thank you, and that one is carried. Thank you very much, Sean. The next item is the special motion to approve the COVID-19 extension of fee reduction to zero in 2021-22. Now, only those of you that have read the agenda would be privy to this motion. Last year, we did a special motion that was outside of our AGM. This year, we decided to roll it all into one. Just to give you some context here, our committee have reviewed and discussed the possibility of reducing the fees to zero once again, and we feel that that is a very good thing to do. And I'm going to hand it over to Sean now, being the Treasurer, to explain that further.
Well, essentially, we have the money in the bank to do so on two grounds. One, we had that $15,400 sitting in the bank account, so therefore that's enough to cover our operating expenses for the 2022 financial year. We also, this happened after the end of the financial year, but a lot of you as business owners are probably across a number of the state government grants that have been in market due to various COVID restrictions and shutdowns. I'll give you a little bit of a history. Back in a couple of years ago, we decided that we'd register hinterland for GST, and it enabled us to effectively increase the price from 120 ex GST to 132 inc GST. So for our member businesses, of whom all bar 2 were registered for GST, it meant no increase in their fees because they could claim that back as a credit, but it meant we could get back some GST credits that were attached to a lot of the bills that we pay each year. So it just helped out our cash flow by close to $1,000 a year to claim back 1/11 of our operating expenses. We then, last year, as you know, decided not to charge membership for the 2021 financial year. And those two things combined, plus a bit of good karma, I guess, resulted in us being able to qualify for the relatively recent COVID hardship grant that the Victorian state government put in place. It meant that we, by virtue of the fact that we met the criteria of being eligible for GST and that our turnover was down by more than 70% year on year across the shutdown benchmark period, by virtue of not receiving any membership income, when we'd normally receive it versus doing so 2 years prior. Our turnover was down by more than 70%, and I applied for the COVID hardship grant on behalf of the Hinterland Tourism Association, and we're in receipt of $20,000 that was deposited relatively recently as well. So our bank account balance, instead of being 15.4, is now 35.4, which means we have a very healthy platform for which not to charge members for the 2022 financial year. So that's why you haven't had an invoice in your inbox from me over the last three or 4 months. So that's the committee that's the basis for the committee recommending us not to charge a fee for 2022, whilst we're all still suffering as businesses suffering the impacts of COVID, until we reopen. So yeah.
Brilliant work, Sean. We're all very pleased, and there's heaps of lovely comments in the chat room too that you should check out later. Just giving you a massive pat on the back for that work. Yes, so with that in mind, with that information, I guess we feel it's a responsible thing to do to reduce the membership fees to zero and the renewal fee to zero in financial year 22 to assist the local industry to get back on its feet. So does anyone have any questions or concerns about that idea to reduce fees to zero? We are in fact overriding the motion that was put in place last year to keep the fees at the financial year the same as they were for financial year 2019 pre-pandemic. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about that or concerns? No? Great. So then I will put forward the motion that we approve the reduction of the fees to zero for both the joining fee and the renewal. And would anyone like to second that? Now, I am not getting everyone's face on. Oh, there we go. Dave is going to second that. Thank you, Dave. I just needed to hit the arrow key. And all in favour? Hands in the air. Fabulous. All in favour. Looks like it's carried. Thank you. Great. So we're item number 6, moving through this very quickly, which is wonderful. Item number 6 is the vote on whether to undertake an audit of our accounts in FY 22. The requirement to review or to audit the association's accounts is optional. And Sean has advised that anything below $250,000 in turnover just doesn't require a review. Doesn't require a review. Anything over $250,000 requires a review. Anything over $500,000 requires an audit. So we're well below the $250,000 turnover limit. So we're not required to do either of those things. And given that we have a qualified accountant on our committee, we feel that it is unnecessary and incurs extra costs at this time. And so we are recommending to the membership that we don't go ahead with an audit of our accounts, but we are more than happy to hear from the members on if they have any concerns about this. Does anyone want to make a comment or say anything about that? Does anyone raise your hand if you have any concerns? No, I can't see any hands raised. So I'm sorry, it's a little bit difficult with the Zoom to sort of get that free-flowing conversation. But if anyone does have any issues with it, we're more than happy to talk about it. But if you don't, we will put forward the motion that we have elected to not undertake an audit of the accounts in the financial year FY 22. If I could have someone to second that. Aha, Sophie is going to second that. Hi, Sophie, laughing. Thank you for that. All in favour, please raise your hands. Okay, I can see a majority there. So that is carried. Lovely. The next is, we're getting through it very quickly, so bear with us, guys. The next is the vote on the number of ordinary members for the committee in 21-22. Again, we would like to offer some advice for the membership, and we feel that the number of 8 committee positions is appropriate. Does anyone have an alternative idea about that? No. I can't see any other options. So if we are happy, we will put forward the motion that we adopt 8 committee positions in financial year 2022. And if I could have someone to second that. Michael, thank you. Michael Tolera is going to second that.
It's good to see I'm online. I wasn't too sure if this thing was working, but anyway.
You are. Thank you. And all in favour, please say, oh, yes, wonderful. All hands, and that we are carried. Okay, so now we come to item number 9, the proposed fees for financial year 2023. Now, this is a little bit confusing because we've just voted to reduce the fees to 0 for this year. Part of the model rules is you also have to set the fees for the year after that. So that's what we're talking about now, the year from 2022 to 2023. And we would suggest that we reinstate the previous fee structure as it was in FY pre-pandemic, and that is $120 as a membership fee plus GST and $20 joining fee plus GST. So are we happy to reinstate those fees as they are stated there? Does anyone have any objection to that? Or any alternative fee structure they would like to present? No? Great. Well, if you're all happy with that, then I would like to put forward the motion that we reinstate the fees in financial year 2023 to $120 as the membership fee plus GST and $20 joining fee plus GST. Can I have a second? Thank you. Fraser's going to second that. And all those in favour? Yep, got all those hands. Wonderful, carried. So we have got through that part. Wonderful. Thank you for bearing with us on all of those technical issues. The last item, or the second last item, before we hear from our special guest, Anne-Marie Haluska, who's from the Shire's Tourism Unit, and she's going to talk about potential grants coming down the line for tourism businesses. So that's a great one to hang around for. But before we do that, we just have to go through the election of the office bearers. So the next item, we did ask for nominations from the membership, and I'm pleased to say that we received 7 nominations for the committee positions in 2021. And all the executive positions were nominated unopposed. And these include 2 new nominations from the membership. And so thank you very much, Fraser McKenzie, who is from Montalto, and Diane Gardner from Rahuna Valley Wines. So brand new, and thank you very much for your nominations, and we're looking forward to working with you both. So just to go through the official election process, in the position of president, we had 1 nomination, Nellie Shaw. Congratulations to Nellie. That position is now filled once again. In the position of vice president, we had 1 nomination, Fraser McKenzie. Congratulations, Fraser, and welcome aboard. That position is now filled. In the position of secretary, we had 1 nomination, Katrina Barrinuvo. Katrina, thank you very much for your hard work this year, and congratulations, that position is now filled. In the position of treasurer, we welcome back Sean Rubenstein. Congratulations, Sean, and thank you for reinstating yourself as treasurer. That position is now filled. In the ordinary positions, we have 3 nominations, and thank you so much to Sophie and Amanda for returning to us. Sophie Nettleford and Amanda Cristani, fantastic job this year running the membership, the e-news and the networking nights. You guys rock. And Diane Gardner, thank you, Diane, for putting your hand up and joining the committee. We're really excited to have some new blood. And we're really looking forward to getting to know you face to face when we can, and really, fleshing out a plan for the future. So that concludes our elections. So yay! And well, we all have we still have 1 position vacant. So if anyone would like to join the committee, please just send us an email and we will invite you to join us, and we'll go from there. You can put your toe in the water and see how you feel, or you can, get started from the start. We're happy to have all input. So that's...
Nellie, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Somebody called and I actually missed out on some of the names. So Fraser McKenzie, Vice President, is that correct? Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Secretary, I didn't get.
Katrina
Who's that?
Barrinugo.
Thank you.
Katrina, are you able to jump on and put your hand up?
That's great.
Say
That's me,
aye.
Katrina.
This is Katrina.
Hi, how you going? Thanks.
Very well.
And
Sean
the treasurer?
Sean
Yeah, I
Rubenstein.
know Sean, that's
You
all
may
right.
have
Yeah, I
seen
know
him
Sean.
before. Amanda, could you say hi? Amanda's in the audience.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
This is Amanda.
Well, that's Amanda's iPhone. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Hold
No worries.
on. Yeah. My phone's about to go flat, so I'm just
Oh, that's
saving
okay.
it.
That's okay. Sophie,
It's
say
all right.
hi.
It's all good.
Hi, Michael. I'm Sophie.
Beautiful.
Hi, Sophie. How are you?
Good,
How you
thanks.
going? Hi.
And
Nice to meet
Diane,
you.
are you there?
Maybe.
Diane?
Hi, Michael. You know me.
Hi.
Excellent. Excellent. So there we go.
Hi, how you going? Well done. I do know Di. It's okay. It's cool.
Great. So we have some faces to the names. That was good. Thank you for that, Michael. That just
That's
broke it up. Great. So we've now got through all of the officialdom of the annual general meeting, I'm pleased to say. And it's time for general business. And so I would like to invite our special guest, Anne-Marie, to take the floor. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the Shire. It's very exciting to have you here tonight, Anne-Marie.
Thanks, Nellie, and thanks everyone for inviting me to your AGM. And congratulations to all the office bearers doing a wonderful job by all accounts there. Essentially, I just wanted to run you through, I guess, the grants program that the Shire have recently opened. It's probably the biggest undertaking of grants that the Shire has ever undertaken. And as part of the $2 million worth of grants that are available or going to be available later on this year, next year, about $500,000 has been put aside for in the business space, I guess. So I don't really have a presentation that I can share with you, but what I might do is I'll send through a link where all this information is available, and you'll be able to sort of investigate a little bit further and have a look and see what might be relevant to you and what you might be eligible for. So essentially with the business grant program stream, there are six grant programs covering off a different range of business support initiatives. So one of them is for online initiatives. Another one is revitalization, business continuity planning, new business support, accessible business improvements, and the tourism marketing and membership subsidy. I might start off with that one because I am talking to a group of tourism businesses, but you might find that one of the other ones might also be of benefit to you. So essentially with the tourism marketing and membership subsidy, it basically gives you that there. So we've got grants of up to $1,000 available for any small business or small to medium tourism business who takes on or pays for a membership with a local tourism organisation or the regional tourism board, or undertakes a marketing initiative. So those grants are currently open, due to close on the 5th of November. So I know Hinterland hasn't charged a fee for this financial year, but if you've joined another association where you have paid a membership fee, you might be eligible to claim up to 50% off that total membership. The online initiatives grant. So Up to a maximum of 3,000 is available with this particular grant. And that's for, again, any small to medium business that has engaged professional services for website development, upgrades, building an e-commerce platform, social media development, getting training in doing the back end and getting your e-commerce skills up to scratch. The Revitalization Initiative, this one I'm not overly familiar with, but from my understanding, there's up to 10,000 available for this application of a grant. And this one is to the benefit of a township or an industrial estate or the businesses in particular areas where it has to be at least 4 businesses in a township or an industrial estate who will work together on a collaborative project, which will be for the businesses in that said township or industrial estate. It doesn't apply to current townships that either have chambers of commerce or traders associations. So that excludes anyone in Mornington, Hastings, Rosebud, Sorrento and Mount Eliza. There's the business continuity planning, which again, there's for up to 3,000 available per application for that one. And that's if you've engaged professional services for business and financial planning, for product development, or if you're looking to do in product diversification, or you've engaged someone to build a marketing strategy for you.
Annie, can I jump in here?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that one is do you have spent the money already, or is it like, I want to spend this money, so I'm going to apply for a grant? And
in terms of the business planning one,
continuity planning, yeah.
Yeah.
For example, could we claim our accountant fees?
I'd need to double check on the accountant fees one. Yeah, I'd need to double check and get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Only if you had a dodgy one.
I'm just thinking there's probably plenty of people that have paid money out in accounting services over the last 12 months. But if it's for future business development, then that's a different story, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'll find out and then I'll just email that through and then you can share that out with your members.
Okay, good-o.
Good-o. All right. Moving along. Then there's again up to 3,000 per application for new business support. So this is basically to support the establishment of startup businesses, or potentially those that are really struggling and fledgling because of COVID. And again, this one probably I would need to find a little bit more information if anybody was interested in it, because I don't have all that information at hand. And then next year, come towards the end of March, there is the Accessible Business Improvement Grant, which up to $5,000 will be available. And this is, and it's going to be open to any business, not just tourism businesses, but if you're looking to make improvements or enhancements in the physical space of your business, that will allow for people with disabilities to enjoy your businesses more. So there'll be a little bit of money available if you're interested in that one. So that's all the business grants that are available. Now, there are 6 of these, and so businesses can apply for up to 2 if you qualify for any of them, but you can't apply twice in the same program. So you couldn't apply twice for the marketing subsidy or the online initiatives, but you could apply for a marketing subsidy and the online initiatives grant.
Great.
So that's basically the NAP grants in a nutshell. So as I mentioned before, I'll send through the website links, which actually will go into a little bit more detail. It'll talk about the eligibility and also the assessment process for you to read a little bit further.
Terrific.
But other than that, if there are specific questions or queries on any of the grants, again, it's probably easier for me to email it through. There is a general phone number which goes through to the Echo Dev team, as well as an email, and they'll respond to you with any specific queries you might have.
And Marie, can I make a question or ask a question or a comment?
Sure.
I've filled out the application for the online initiatives.
Mhm.
And when I followed up, they explained that there's going to be an assessment period which commences after the grant application period closes.
That's right.
So that means if you are eligible for one of these grants, you probably won't be notified until the middle to the end of November. Now,
Most
they're
likely.
labeled a COVID support initiative. And if we're looking at implementing an online booking system and an e-way payment gateway, you're giving an applicant from the beginning of December to implement this in time for the tourism associate or the tourism season. It's just not going to happen. I've spoken to a couple online companies and they won't even be able to sit and have a strategy meeting until January or February next year. So I guess the concept of putting this together, maybe it's a little bit flawed as far as the timeframes, but also I understand that it's not a first come, first served basis. So you put in your application and then a committee sits in and evaluates.
Mm.
So you don't know whether you're going to get this grant. So the point of trying to plan for implementing a payment gateway and an online booking system and all that, it's kind of, well,
It's chicken and egg.
it's kind of useless if you're going to implement something this year. So
yeah, well, I can definitely take that comment back to the group. I can see where you're coming from in that sense. It's it's on that precipice point that you're on the verge of reopening. Silly season is about to start, and so in terms of the timing, it may not have been the best. So I'll take that back.
COVID's been running for nearly a year and a half or 2 years now. The Shire could have perhaps looked at bringing this on a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, yeah, point taken.
Hey, Annie, that's great. Thank you for that brief, and we'll look into that in greater detail. And thank you. Do send through all those links, and we will forward that to the membership. I would just also wanted to ask you, can you give us an update on what's going on with tourism? I did hear that you got a new manager, or was I mistaken there?
Yes. So I guess earlier this year, council underwent a whole organisation realignment. And so that I won't say it threw everything up in the air, but there was a whole review about departments, where departments would sit and whatnot. So tourism now, where previously it sat with economic development and innovation and advocacy, we now sit within a new department called community activation. And within that department, we sit alongside with Echo Dev, events and festivals, arts and culture, and cultural history. So we think that's a really good fit and really good matching for where tourism should probably be sitting with, and working a lot more closer with all those teams. And yes, we do have a new manager. So for those who knew previously, Tanya Treasure was the manager of our department, but we now have a new manager, Natasha Petkovic Jeremic, and she's working out really well, I think. So yeah, a little bit of shifting sands, but at the same point, sort of still same old, same old.
Is she located with you in the visitor? Are you all in the one location?
Not well, COVID hasn't allowed us to be all in the
Of
one
course,
location.
yeah.
No, Natasha, they hired Natasha in July when we weren't in lockdown, and at the time she was living over in New Zealand, and she was due to come out in April and start in September, but of course with COVID and lockdowns, she's still stuck in New Zealand. So
okay, good.
yeah.
All right, so we're not going to see her very soon.
Well, not in the flesh, maybe online, but
maybe
online. Not in person. And I'll just, if we're doing a bit of just a quick update too, the Visitor Information Centre in Dramana, we're currently working through what our reopening is going to look like. At this stage, we don't have a set date, but we're working through that. And of course, like with all businesses in terms of vaccinations, as well as the implications of what that means for having volunteers on site and everything. So with everyone else, we're working through that, but we'll keep you posted and let you know when things are happening.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a difficult time to plan.
You can't plan.
Doesn't it feel
Nellie?
like that? Yep, Sean.
It's Sean. Yeah. Just following what Anne-Marie was just bringing up. Hi, Anne-Marie. Haven't seen you in forever. But just there was something that Angela sent out on the 8th of October, an update from the Chief Health Officer. And I think it's pertinent to everybody in the hinterland, which was everybody that interacts on your business, whether it's a contractor like a cleaner coming to help you out or anything else, and it varies the dates, but essentially by the end of October, if they're not double vaxxed, then you can't have them working with you anymore, even if they're contractor. I think has everyone read that email? Do all members understand that? Like that if my cleaner doesn't get double vaxxed, they can't work here at my location anymore. I was just putting that out as part of other business because it might have an impact on some of the smaller businesses if they didn't know.
Thanks, Sean.
I have a question on that, and I don't know if you know, but I've been through everything and I'm fully vaccinated. But if it says that that person cannot work there, but it doesn't say what the fine is or anything like that. So if someone's found to be unvaccinated at a workplace, they're just ordered to go home, or like, does it put the onus on the business owner or on the person who's unvaccinated?
Sophie, I think it's Amanda here. I'm pretty sure that if the business owners don't manage it, that we get fined.
Yep.
So,
Good question.
so all of my staff have started sending through their vaccination certificates, and we're collating them all in a file.
Yeah.
And then, for example, we work with other businesses like schools who bring kids on, school excursions. So Moonraker, ourselves, any tourism business that works with schools, we then have to send all the vaccination certificates of all of our staff to the school before we can operate any tour.
Okay.
So there's levels upon levels.
So then
none
if
of my staff can work for me without being fully vaccinated.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So if you were having a client meeting, I would need them to send me their vaccination papers ahead of the scheduled meeting as well.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so many layers, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just say
Karen here. Yeah, I've seen that businesses can be liable for up to $20,000 fine and patrons up to $2,000 fine if you're in a mandated industry, like hospitality. But whether that applies to your cleaner or something like even accommodation, there's still no rules being issued about what happens if 6 people come and stay at your B&B and one person's not vaccinated. Are they allowed to stay in there's no guideline on that yet, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. Interesting.
Fraser, did you have any update for us on how you're going to deal with customers in relation to that?
At the moment, we're intending on asking everybody to check in and show us their green tick that their vaccination certificate has been integrated into their Vic Health app.
Yeah.
The key concern is to overcome bottlenecks. So we can see now in the Vic Health app that you can add favorites and you don't need to scan QR codes. So we're considering whether or not we go out to our guests that have reservations and tell them to add us as a favorite in the app so they can check in as soon as they arrive without having to wait for a QR code to scan and use.
Okay.
But we're intending on asking guests to confirm.
Yeah, using the QR code linked to the Services Victoria app.
Yep. Yeah, sorry, Service Victoria, not Vic Health. Yep.
And do you think people in the chat earlier were talking about certificates being required and fines being associated without the presentation of certificates? Do you think that that will just morph into the QR code link and that you'll have a record of it there, that will be sufficient?
It is morphed. It is part of the QR code.
Yes,
that's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Most recent Service Victoria app has the ability to add your COVID certificate to it.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
They're also, state government is running trials at the moment in regional Victoria in 4 regional locations to see how this is working and see whether they can finesse and fine tune it before it hits metropolitan Melbourne.
Well,
I don't know if other people are experiencing this, but at my place, I can't. Most people don't have service.
Oh.
So most people can't check in.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't have any service either.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Another
Oh
layer.
my God, that's terrible.
There's no Optus or Vodafone down Shoreham Road.
That's where I am too.
We'll just get a government grant and maybe put a tower or something down there, eh? Just give it a reception.
The Red Hill Tower goes as far as Ashcombe Maze and stops at my property.
Just accelerate it a little bit or something. Get Huawei in here and sort of see if they can help us out.
Would that be an accessibility grant?
Oh my God.
Something like that. I'm sure there's a few people that could roll a few numbers, but anyway.
This has been a really
cheater, by the way.
This has been a really wonderful discussion. And
Fraser, can I just ask you a question? How are you guys thinking about policing the QR codes? Because I mean, I can understand if someone comes in and does a reservation, you can probably take those things over the phone. Or what happens if you get randoms turning up and so forth? I mean, are you relying on people just to be honest?
Yep. It's like we have been all the way through. Yeah, we want to try and just treat chickens like we've always treated chickens. That we give people every opportunity. We have 3 touch points before they arrive on site. We've got the opportunity to scan the QR code in the car park before they get onto the property, and then there's something at the table, and the staff just say, "Have you checked in?" Yeah, so that's our plan at the moment, is to make it feel like everything else that we've done in the past.
Okay, cool.
Charles, are you still with us? Would you like to make a comment on how the hot springs are going to manage this?
Underwater. I think a lot of mobile phones are water resistant these days, aren't they? Oh, no, QR code underwater. Sorry, I'm just trying to make it.
That's okay. Look, it's been a really great discussion, but I think we should probably wrap up the official AGM. We can move this conversation to
No. Nellie, can I add just one bit of business while we've been sitting here? I had a delivery. And I do have to say thank you, because I had 3 lovely bottles of wine delivered from the Red Hill Wine Collective, of which one I might add is a Tolera Blanc de Blancs. So thank you for the committee that I leave. It's been a wonderful journey, and if anybody's thinking about volunteering in the future, it's a really good thing to do and a really worthwhile thing to do. And yeah, good luck to everybody going forward.
Oh, Kerry, thank you so much. And I'm sorry I didn't give you that opportunity to speak earlier. That was very remiss of me. But yeah, like as I said in the earlier, you know, your contribution has just been incredible, and you will be sorely missed. But we'll carry on without you, and hopefully get you back for some consultation if needed, and all the rest. And can you just give us a quick outline of what you think you might be doing in the future?
Oh, well, I still work. I have a state government job 3 days a week, so that keeps me busy. Dave and I run Haven Red Hill, so I'm chief gardener, so I'll be doing a lot more of that. I'm also quite heavily involved in the Red Hill Community Association, so I'll probably step that up in the next 12 months and be more active in that. And I've been with them 7 or 8 years as well, so that's why, yeah, just deciding what to do with my time, but that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
I might tell you too, Nellie, that I did the rebranding of the hinterland tourism many years ago, and I have some signs that I need to pass on to you.
I forgot about that. I was going to mention that in the in your sheet of accomplishments, but yeah, that one slipped through. Anyway, thank you so much. We will close the meeting. People, you're welcome to leave us. 7:06. Whoa, we got that done in an hour. How good was that? Thank you, Anne-Marie, for your time, and thank you for all the new committee members that have put their hand up again this year. Thank you, Sean, for a very thorough treasurer's report and getting great money for us. We're all looking forward to the year ahead, and hopefully it will be a bit smoother than what we've been through in the past 2 years. So if anyone would like to stick around, you're more than welcome to just stick around and have a chat. I will give the floor over, but if you'd like to say goodbye, then, see you later. Thank you. Now's where we put the elevator music back on.
I'm going to head off, but all the best, and we'll catch you all soon.
Thanks.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye.
Hi, Merrin, and goodbye, Merrin. Did you want to stick around? Or? No.
Oh, I'm going to head off as well. I've had a big day.
You have.
And, there are children sort of clawing at the door here.
Thanks, Kat. You're awesome.
Everyone.
See you again.
Bye.
Bye.
I do have one question, Nellie.
Yeah.
There was a new business that I couldn't find. Hang on.
Bye, everyone. See you.
See you, Michael.
See you later. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
thanks for dropping in. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good night. See you. Bye-bye.
So I've got 101 businesses on my list.
Oh.
There was one that I just couldn't find online at all. Let me just see if I can find it. Hang on a tick. Sorry, I can't remember who it is, but I couldn't find it on Facebook, and I couldn't find them on Instagram.
Merrin, this is Fraser.